Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Rockwood number 494-626. This is a satin chrome automatic door holder is what it is. And the 494 is a part of a family of automatic door holders that are all the same in principle. And they really only differ in terms of the undercut that they're attempting to accomplish, the strike prep, the strike type that's going to be there for doing so, how it's mounted, where it's mounted, I should say. And the 494 is just a particular derivative of an automatic door holder. So automatic door holder basically means that when you push the door open, it's going to automatically stay in the held open position. And it's done so on a mechanical principle of basically a spring-loaded ball or roller that falls over a profile or a feature of the strike plate. And they'll all have the housing or the body. And the body is what's going to contain that roller that's governed by the spring. And the 494 features this riveted piece of neoprene so that it can act as a stop as well, which it has to. And that's the end that you apply generally to the door. This can go to the wall. You can, this can go to the door, this can go to the wall, which would be pretty typical. It can go the other way. But in essence, this is what's happening. Okay? Tip it up a little bit. That's going to compress because of that spring that's back there. And it's going to lock in place like this. Okay? That rubber bumper is going to keep it from really making damage. And that's your application. And when you pull that door, that roller is going to be compressed up into the housing. It's going to pull free. And that's what this is for. Completely wall mounted and door mounted. So where you locate it on the door height wise is, open to determination based on the field conditions. This is going to be available in different finishes, and let's take a look at what those are. Looking at a screen here. So you'll be able to do these in a 10BE, which is a oil rubbed bronze equivalent. That's powder coated. 605 for polished brass. 606 satin brass. 612 for satin bronze. 613 for oil rubbed bronze. 619 satin nickel. 625 polished chrome. 626 satin chrome is what you can do these on. Being Rockwood, I'm sure they could accommodate some special requests. If you had a need for antique nickel, I'm sure that they could. They basically all but encourage requests for that sort of scenario. The extended description information down below tells us the most important thing, I think, is that you've got a 3 3/4 inch clearance from the door to the wall, and that's going to be a combination of the projection of the body where the roller latch or the roller down there is going to engage the strike, and the back side of that is about 1 inch. The back side of the roller. So if we took the strike and went to where that roller is going to sit, it's about 2 3/4. So that's where your 3 3/4 comes in. Okay, if that makes sense. What I'm saying is the total distance between the outside of all of this is 3 3/4. Okay. Now back to the dimensional properties. Overall projection of the unit looks like it's about 2 inch, with an overall height at about 3 7/16. Okay. Overall width about 3 1/16. The overall height of what would generally be the door portion, I imagine, about 3 inch, with an overall width up at the top of just about 2, with a total projection at about 3 1/16. Okay. It's going to include anchors for the spring-loaded portion. It's going to include screws for your strike, and that's going to come with plastic anchors. It's really telling you that this is what's generally on the wall. At least they'll get you started with some sort of anchors. You might need to come up with something else. I would sure be wanting to drill and tap this to a steel door. I'd want to be mounting it very securely, and the reason I say that is I've installed these, and they're incredibly effective at holding the door open. That they will absolutely hold the door open. They do make some noise when they are pushed open and pulled off, or pushed locked in the held open position and then pulled off, there is a certain amount of noise that's detectable when that gets compressed and moved. The point of that is you probably wouldn't see them most commonly installed in any sort of residential application. I could see you doing so if you had an app. I've had people call and say, I've got an 80-pound dog and he pushes the door closed every time just when he walks by it. Okay, so you can put on something heavier duty, but just know that it's a large piece of hardware that will have a measurable amount of sound. Not that it would really detract if your primary design requirement, application requirement, was to effectively hold the door open, but be mindful that that is the case, and I would not expect a residential client to purchase this. They are obviously not listed. They are obviously not labeled for fire doors at all. A fire door cannot be manually held open. That would be a violation of the two cardinal rules or tenets of fire-rated doors, self-closing and self-latching. So you would not be putting this on a fire-rated door ever at all. You would be installing this onto a door. I've seen them installed on the exterior doors of schools where they want to very securely keep the doors in the held open position for when class is moving inside to outside, outside to inside, stuff of that nature. Now there's a link below this video to the product brochure where we can take a look at the different models of automatic door stops from Rockwood. I can't say which one is absolutely most common, except that it would probably be the 491 series would be more common with the floor-mounted strike. And then after that, it would be the 490 or 494 models, I would say. But the 491 series is, in my experience, more commonly sold. The downside of that is you'll have a strike on the floor that may not be ideal if you've got bathroom. If you have a restaurant and you have the requirement to hold those doors open when the cleaning crew is in there, this would be a great option. You might not want the model with a floor strike. You're going to be cleaning around that. You might want something on the floor, and that might be perfect. The downside of the wall-mounted models is you need greater clearance to get it all installed, and you may not have that much room when you bring the door to the 90-degree open position, and the floor model might simply be more appropriate for you because you can tuck that all closer together within that space. Okay. The only difference between those 491 models is the undercut that they're going to be tolerating, and the strike height is what's really going to change on those. At least I believe that that's what the deal is here. It's actually not. They can only accommodate the half-inch or less door to floor, and the only difference between those is the screw package. So if you're doing a floor mount, you'll have to be 1/2 of an inch or less of an undercut for that sort of application. Otherwise, Rockwood will relegate you to a wall-mounted version. That is odd because most other manufacturers, and I assumed Rockwood before I'd obviously forgotten, have different strike heights. So be mindful that they really only have 3 models, and 2 of them are wall-mounted. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Rockwood products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog, where we'll be able to review all things Rockwood from their, not only from their core series of accessory hardware, such as these wall holders, but also their RM series of architectural door pulls. They have a incredibly comprehensive catalog encompassing all things architectural door pulls, regardless of the base material that the material is made. Material made of architectural metals like stainless and brass or bronze that will be available in those architectural finishes. You can do variations of that material like having wood incorporated into the design, leather incorporated into the design, rubber incorporated into the design, etc. So an interesting catalog to access if you need some sort of very custom, very unique types of door pulls. So the Rockwood Manufacturers Catalog has 2 things of importance. The accessory catalog and then the architectural door pull. They call it They might just call it architectural. It's the RM series of pulls. If you have any questions on the Rockwood 494 automatic door holder or any other Rockwood product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.